Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good evening, guys. Jesus.
Hey, Larry, Gary.
Just watching everybody start to pop in. Hey, nice ears there, Charlie. Let me just see here.
Hi, Larry.
Hey there, Ted. Long time no talk.
How's everybody? Oh, the John is there and Charlie's there.
Hey, Ted.
Hi, John. John, I don't want you to think I forgot that I have that book.
Oh, good. Are you getting close to being ready?
Not really. Not really. Larry's supposed to do it with me, but we haven't done it yet.
The only way I got through it was to go to that National Club boot camp, because they stuffed us through all the knowledge in 2.5 days and then set us for the test.
I wonder if they're doing that virtually now, John.
I don't know. If you go to their site, they might be. They're pretty big.
What club is it?
Stuff.
Nashua.
Nashua Amateur Radio Club
Society. It's the Millionaires Club.
It is?
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be able to join unless they're giving it out.
Their
The only way I'm going to pass the
club
extra
president was an engineer with Verizon that developed 3G.
Yeah.
The only way I'm going to pass the extra is if somebody takes it for me.
Larry, this is him.
Oh, that's Oscar there?
That's Oscar.
All righty.
He is, John, he's completely deaf.
My dog's almost completely blind and partially deaf.
He loves his dad.
Yep.
Charlie, I like your antlers.
He's muted.
Oh, but I can see him.
Can you read his lips? Gotta unmute, Charlie. Wow, look at your beard, Gary. Holy cow.
Oh my God.
Now I'm trying to unmute.
Sasquatch has arrived. I like it, Gary.
I think I'm unmuted.
You're
Yep,
unmuted.
You're unmuted.
All right. Cheers.
Charlie, are you unmuted? No, we can't hear you, Charlie.
This is the last half of my Manhattan.
Oh, I'm just.
Is this any better?
Bubbly peach water.
That's better, Charlie.
Okay, now I can't hear everybody else though. I had speakers plugged into my phone. I'm running off my phone, and I guess plugging the speakers in, I lose the microphone. Oh well.
Oh, I forgot about the cooking thing. Gary told me about that.
Oh,
We were supposed to be cooking.
That's right.
Gary's doing it. Gary, that's a lovely kitchen.
That is a nice kitchen.
Thank you, guys.
Very nice. What are you cooking, Gary?
I got vegetarian Italian sausage cut on the bias. Red onion in there sauteing.
Wait.
And-
Sausage, isn't sausage something that Ted gives his dogs? Sausage?
Let's see, red onion in there sauteing now with fresh organic oregano. And just putting together a fresh arugula salad to go with it.
Very nice.
There you have it.
Any pasta with that dish or no?
No, just the sausage, onions, and herbs. That's it.
Very nice.
Very simple.
My wife
Olive oil.
Donna would be proud of you.
Oh yeah, she'd like it.
She would love it.
Well, once this
All
is
right.
all over, we'll have to go over to Gary's house for dinner. Let him cook for us.
Oh yeah, there's a deck out back. Got plenty of room.
He's got quite a deck, quite a nice outside Vermont grill. Beautiful.
Actually, maybe we should do a cook-off between Gary and my friend Rich K2 UPS. He does some serious cooking.
Well, I can only do fish, guys. I don't know steaks or pork or any of that stuff. So That would be my limit.
He's a pescatarian,
Yes.
like me. Larry, I didn't mean anything by that. It's just I can't do the burger.
You can do corned beef, but you can't do a burger.
Well, don't tell
You can
anybody
get
I did that.
chicken, you can get fish.
If you really want to go there because of the birthday thing, we can do it. Such a deal.
Hey, I got a
I like
question
fish
for you.
wrapped
When
in
you were
bacon.
running your Zoom spot off your portable battery, how long
Yes.
could you run it off of like a 10,000 milliamp hour battery?
I don't know that because I have a 26,000, I think, milliamp battery.
And how long did it run off of that?
I can pretty much, I can pretty much get a day and a half out of it, Larry.
Okay. That's just
Now,
great.
I've been playing with the whole charging thing, and I finally ordered a part. It's funny. I bought a 4-hour device that turns my car battery on for 4 hours when I shut the car off to charge that auxiliary battery. I think I spent $90 for it, Larry, and I found one that goes from 5 minutes to 18 hours for $39 on eBay. So I'm
Usually
sending
the
the
way.
one. So I'm doing the right thing. I'm sending the other one back, and I've got one that's settable from 5 minutes to 18 hours. John and Charlie, I wasn't trying to leave you out of this. I have a DMR radio, portable, and I've wanted to be able to use it away from the car. So I bought this Spot and a Verizon Jetpack and an auxiliary battery, and I've got it hooked up to my Yaesu ATAS 120 antenna. So my HF rig is hooked to the same antenna with a diplexer, and I can get about, I'm serious, I can get about 3/4 of a mile away from the car and be able to use the DMR radio, which I like because I want people to see me talking to Europe when I'm walking down the street in Northampton.
So what are you having, John? Pizza?
Pizza and a Manhattan.
It's a great mix. Hey, we're
Whiskey's
supposed to
always
get
good.
4 to 8 inches of snow up here tomorrow.
Yeah, 6 inches predicted here.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed. I hope for the snow to happen today while I was out in the oil truck. It's much more fun.
Yeah. Hey, John, does Richards do gas force hot air heating systems?
Century. Yeah. I think they got a couple guys that are pretty good with gas.
I've got an older system, and I had a guy come in and give me a quote to replace it, and I didn't pull the trigger yet because it was a lot of money, and I ended up having a service call me anything. I had him do a service call the day before Thanksgiving, and I told him my pilot was out, and it had been going out, and he just came and relit the pilot and took a picture of the burner. It turned out it was the thermocouple. I replaced it on Thanksgiving morning myself from an Amazon package, and it worked perfectly. And now I'm thinking, if he couldn't fix the pilot with a thermocouple, I don't think I want him replacing my heating system, because it seems to me that would be the first thing you'd replace if the pilot were going out.
Yeah, they're replacing systems. They're generally oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've got natural gas in the house, and the system's literally about 50 years old, and it's not efficient at all.
No.
You know, some of these things are 99% efficient. They're unbelievable.
99%? I've heard
Oh, it's
93.
Crazy.
Hey there, Al.
Al, how are you?
I know the System 2000 will run gas, oil, whatever. It's a good system.
Gotcha. Al, I saw that Aaron stepped up again. Did you know that, Larry?
Yes, he
I know
did.
that.
Yes, he did.
Well, good.
It's a weird situation.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know the intricacies.
Club politics, you probably don't want to know. Right, Al?
Yeah, we don't know yet.
All clubs go through them. It's not a big deal. It just happens.
Larry, are you seeing a glare behind me from the fluorescent light?
Oh, you mean that's not a poltergeist behind you?
No, no, it's not a
Thought it
pulse.
was a halo.
If I turn it
Wait,
off,
wait. Is that a scythe? You know, a creature with a scythe behind you?
no, that's a rainbow. That's a rainbow.
I don't think so.
It's,
What's the name of that thing? Incubus?
it's demonic energy, Larry. Demonic energy.
What was that, Vanessa?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Yeah, good evening. We're good. How are you?
Pretty
Hey, you're
good. I
looking
like
good,
Gary's
Vanessa.
kitchen. Huh? Hi.
Yeah, we're all admiring Gary's kitchen.
Yeah.
Vanessa, you look very
Oh,
dark in the
geez.
picture.
Oh yeah.
You look
I'm just
very
gonna-
dark
I'm-
in the picture.
I'm just gonna say hi,
Hi,
and then
Vanessa.
I'm gonna
man.
block it again. I don't like being on video.
Vanessa, did you see Charlie grew antlers?
Oh wow.
Do they light up, Charlie?
They
No,
have bells.
unfortunately, I have to work on that. I figured maybe a 2-meter dipole and some lights next year.
I'm sure Jurgen can probably come up with something with directions less than 70 pages for it.
Oh. Charlie, did you pick up a 705?
Yes, I did. I love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, last Sunday I set up at the airport for the 3.944 net, HF net on Sunday morning, and I was able to check in, and Rob Macedo heard me out in New Bedford
Wow.
on
that's
10
great.
watts on a 10. Yeah, I hastily set up a dipole at the airport, only 7 feet off the ground, and was getting out okay.
Yeah, but remember the solar flux index, it's getting really good. Is that the maximum wattage on that radio? Or
Yeah.
no?
Yep. It's 10 watts if you have an external battery and 5 watts on the internal.
Wow.
How well
But
can
they-
you see the screen in the sunshine?
Oh, fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
Oh, that's
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, and
Larry,
it's all-
Larry, you saw it. I don't know if you guys know, my wife gave me marital permission to purchase an IC 7300.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
sent you a
nice.
text, Larry.
Oh, so maybe that'll be under your Hanukkah/Christmas tree.
Yeah, that or Gary's got a Yaesu recommendation for me, so I'm not totally sure.
I wouldn't go yes.
Ah, gee.
ICOM's got a far better receiver. You have to really spend a lot of bucks to get a good Yaesu.
I learned with my last Yaesu, didn't I, Larry?
Oh yes, yes, and you can't expect the new one to be any easier to use too.
Okay. I know you like that rig, Charlie.
Which one? The
The IC
7300?
7300.
Oh, yeah, I love that one. The 7300, I was able to, on a 53-foot end fed in the attic, I was able to do FT8 to Australia on like 17 watts.
That's
So,
great.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that's the one. I think that's the one I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable, Charlie. They've got rebates on it now.
yeah. I gave, I had 2 of them. I sold one of
I
them
know.
and bought the 9700. And then I had a 991 Alpha that I won also. And I sold that to Marcel to buy the 705. So,
Gotcha. Hi, Paul.
Hello, all.
Evening.
hey, Jurgen.
Hey there, Fred.
Jurgen, how are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm a little bit late.
No, you're not late.
Nah.
I'm not late. Oh, okay. Oh, that looks good.
Everything looks good. Fred's got a big smile. Unmute your radio for your microphone there, Fred.
Here's Larry. Hi, Larry.
How you doing?
Hey, Larry.
Good. Happy holidays.
I don't
Thanks
think
to you.
I don't think I am muted.
Oh no, you're unmuted now. You're good now.
I didn't do anything.
I'm watching people pop in here. I keep telling it to admit all, but it still makes me manually admit everybody.
Oh, the heavy lifting.
Jurgen,
Yes.
Larry and I just heard from Tim. I don't know if you know it. You've got to password your Brandmeister site and your spot, or it won't work.
That won't work?
Won't work. They initiated using a password because apparently people are stealing each other's identities off of the radio. So
So
now
that
you
would
have to
be-
go into brandmeister.net. You have to choose a password, and then you've got to put it in through Pi-Star into your spot.
Oh, I was wondering because for the last few days I tried to connect and it didn't work.
That's why.
And yeah, there's directions up on the HCRA website in the DMR section.
Oh, thanks.
You've
Yeah,
got to
that-
do that, or you won't hear anything, and they won't hear you.
Yeah, they were very active, the group that I always joined, and I didn't hear them. I said, something is wrong.
You're locked out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Paul, we got Tom. Good evening, all. Everybody's slowly popping in here. I saw
Hey,
Kurt
somebody's
check in
working in
briefly
the
with a face.
See, somebody's working in the kitchen there.
That's Gary's kitchen. Looks like a kitchen that we all die for.
42 years old, guys. 42 years old.
Where's Martha Stewart?
Ah,
I'm getting ready to start doing a kitchen redo at my house.
We're just doing bathroom pieces right now.
oh my goodness.
All right, I will be right back.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing, Jeff?
Hi. Hey, John. JIE.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't spill a bunch of heating heating oil in my friend's basement.
Oh, yeah, over there.
Highland Ave.
Yep.
That wasn't you, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
boy.
God.
It was. They cleaned it up.
Oh yeah, he couldn't even go in the house. It was so bad.
Oh, yeah, it was one of those, the whistle didn't stop till came out the vent pipe.
Ew.
It happens once in a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard where people sometimes use the wrong inlet, like they've done a gas to oil change.
Well, a lot of what happens is they'll replace the tank and they'll leave the old inlet pipe there and something
Yeah.
still where the old tank was, and they'll just dump it in the basement.
What do you do, John? Just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick one?
No, that one was a tough one. It was a soft whistle, and the vent pipe gives off a whistle sound when you fill in the tank, and it was a fixed amount. And the last 5 gallons, it dropped down to a slower feed to get the last 5 gallons in, and that's what I thought it was, and it wasn't.
Oh my God.
A lot of 160 activity going on right now.
Well, it could be because of a contest.
Yeah, but it's fun.
I hope to get on later. Hey there, Ray. Welcome aboard.
Good evening, group.
Hey,
Good
Ray.
evening, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Well, I saw John had a beverage in his hand, so I had to go for a couple of fingers of Macallan 12.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Neat.
That's where I just went to, too.
All right.
I
Have you
got
ever had
Irish
the
mist.
Hey, have you ever had the Dalwhinnie
Oh, yeah. I have a bottle of it.
25-year-old?
I'd have to look. It's buried in the back somewhere. I got a bunch of single malts, so
Oh, that stuff was good. It was expensive. I had it at, I don't know, some top of that restaurant in Springfield. It's where they decorate all the Christmas ornaments and stuff down by the MGM.
Oh,
Tower Square?
Yeah, I had it there. I had the Dalwhinnie 25-year-old. It was
Yeah.
quite pricey, but damn, it was good.
nice. Nice and smooth, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't touch that stuff.
I had a
Yeah,
manager that
this
worked
is
for
just
me
a
that
Manhattan made with bullet rye.
he told me the only proper way to drink a single malt is neat. You don't put any ice in it, maybe a drop or two of water, and that's all.
That's it.
That's it. That's it.
Have you ever been to the whiskey dinners that the place over in Hadley, Northampton?
No,
Amherst
I
does?
haven't.
I've been to a couple of those. He's crazy, but he's really good.
I have a
at
neighbor.
the whiskey.
I have a neighbor up the street who is very much into bourbon, and he gives tasting sessions with bourbon. He has some bottles there that, where there were maybe only 8 bottles of it bottled, and I mean, it's some pretty rare stuff.
Have you ever been up to Burlington, Vermont?
No, but I've been to Edinburgh, Scotland, and
Ooh,
my wife wouldn't let me go into the Scotch whiskey experience. She figured she'd lose me for the day.
At least, if not the weekend. You'd end up with a skirt and a new tattoo.
That's right.
So, Paul,
I think if everybody has one, I have one too.
All right. Okay.
If you ever get up to Burlington, go to the whiskey bar. It's around the corner from the Irish pub.
Yep.
They have 3 bottles in there that are $700 a shot.
Oh,
I didn't try any of those, but
I have to save up, John.
they have some really, really good stuff in there.
Let's see that or a new piece of ham gear. I'd have to,
Hi, Marcel. Hi.
Hello, how are you guys?
hello there. Welcome aboard.
Marcel.
Hi, Tim.
Oh, John, I like your image there, the Santa.
Oh,
UA1JKB. That's beautiful.
yeah, he's a little thin this year. COVID did that to him.
Tim, you're muted.
Hey, Paul, who is Angela Goki?
Oh, and that's what I'm being late. Let me change. It's my daughter. She set up a family. She used my computer to set up a family Zoom on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And now every time I go in, I have to rename it. Thank you for pointing that out.
Well, you gotta sign out and sign in or something.
No, I just right click on.
You're right.
Should be done.
There you go.
I've had to do it for every meeting I've been on since Thanksgiving, so I got to figure out how to do a global change.
But if you're signed into Zoom, you want to sign out and
yeah, that's probably what it is. I think she set up this
Then go to
Zoom meeting
bed.
for the family, and she signed in as her under her Zoom, account. And so every time I log on now, I'm actually logging in using her account that's on my computer. So
didn't know if something else was maybe in the works with the name change.
no.
Oh my goodness.
Should we refer to you as the they then, Paul?
What'd you say, Gary?
Should we refer to you as they?
Yeah.
That's the transgender pronoun.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let's see. We got Ann and Aaron, and Steve, Vanessa, and Kurt, and Jean are popping in here. We got Frandy there. Hey there, Frandy. How are things?
I'm fine. How are you?
We're good. And what are you
Didn't
drinking?
forget
You
this
usually got
week.
something good to drink. Are you drinking like everybody else?
I see Fred. Hi, Fred. And Gary.
How you doing, Fred?
Larry's
Hey,
always
Randy, how you doing?
Okay. Well, that's cool. First I signed on, I thought there were only 5 people, but there's like 24 or something now.
Go to gallery view.
Here comes
Yeah.
more.
So,
Here come a bunch more too.
John Bork. Where's he?
He's the Santa right there.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Ken.
How you doing, Marcel?
I'm well. How are you, Larry? Hi, Ted.
Go.
I'm doing
Hello,
fine.
Marcel.
Got my drink, so
Amen.
Hey, Fred, have you done any contesting since you've been a New England director?
I did one last weekend, made 2 million points in the CQ Worldwide.
Good job.
Cool.
Kick butt.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for joining us tonight.
My
Gotta
pleasure.
have-
Ray. Thanks for inviting me.
You're,
Fred.
you're welcome.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, guys.
I'm glad Phil's here. He can answer the questions.
Now we'll let Ray answer the questions, the hard ones.
Let's see here. We got everybody coming in. They're still popping in here.
Ray, are you guys all set for tomorrow's weather?
Oh, man, I'm gonna get spanked.
Unreal, huh?
I'm in the sweet spot, 8 to 12 inches. They just upped the totals.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Holy
8
cow.
to 12?
Yeah.
Wow. As usual, I did some antenna work today.
around here they were saying on 22 News was probably maybe 2 to 3 inches, but you never know what they say and then what really happens.
Yeah.
They're still not sure where these bands are going to set up. If it comes
Yeah.
any further west, we'll get
Yep.
more than that.
Yeah, if you notice that Worcester County and parts north of it usually get spanked. And that's the case this time around.
I started up my snowblower earlier, got it all gassed up and ready to go. It'll throw wet snow 40 feet, so I don't have to worry about anything.
Can you come to my house, Larry?
Let's see, are you within walking distance? Hey, Steve, nice to see you join us.
Oh, nice to see you guys.
Well, the beard's looking good. It's the COVID beard. We're all doing that, or a bunch of us are doing that.
Larry, did you see I took mine off?
Oh, I didn't notice that. Next year, maybe we should do it like a November 1st. Everybody shave down and we should have a beard growing contest.
Mine hasn't been off since our honeymoon. And
Yeah,
that's
we could redo Deliverance.
I've had mine down to my,
In these days, Ken, that doesn't mean a whole lot. How many years are we talking?
42.
42.
Oh, that's you've trimmed it.
Yeah. And it never used to be gray.
I've had mine almost ZZ top length at one time, but my wife
Really?
kind of won't let that happen again.
Growing a beard in this house would be the quickest way to bachelorhood that I can come.
I'm just
I
gonna
almost
cut his
cut it
hair
all
when
off
he's sleeping
today.
one night.
She don't like the ponytail anymore.
Ponytail
Hey,
I've
Harold,
never
how are
done.
you?
Beard is one thing. Although Gary's, when was the last time you cut your beard? You cut your beard, Gary?
March?
Oh, that's good.
What are you eating, Gary?
Vegetarian Italian sausage, red onion sauteed, and organic oregano leaves thrown in.
Nice.
Fresh.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
All righty, 7:30. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Here come a couple more here as they go popping in.
Larry, Harold just came in from the North Pole.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
Harold.
wow.
Nice hat there. You kind of matched Charlie's hat.
Santa hat.
Yeah.
on.
Little holiday spirit, you know.
Just only me. They're
Hey,
only
Harold.
Is anybody watching Jeff do do single operator 2 headset?
they're only saying 2 to 4.
I'm doing the 160 contest as we're doing the movie.
He's multitasking.
I can't even do one transceiver, let alone two.
Although with the 2 headsets, Jeff, he almost looks like you're wearing a curly wig.
At least I have hair now.
Yeah. He's got that layered thing going on.
I got you guys in one ear, and I got the CW contest in the other ear.
All righty, let's see here. We're up to, what are we up to? We're up to 30. We're doing good. All right, I'm gonna let it go 2 minutes, and we're gonna jumpstart everything.
What's that on your head, Harold?
A little Santa hat.
Oh, it's got a red, is that maybe
He's
your,
on your left.
thought your hair was getting
Your
gray.
left.
No, it's still here.
Let's turn that off.
What's that?
I like your Christmas decorations there, Harold, in the background.
Yeah, this is actually the ham shack. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it just gives me a little added warmth for the winter.
Yep.
The lights make the shack look huge.
Well, it's not small.
No, it's not.
It got expanded since you've been here.
Oh, really? Oh, all right. You're still down in the basement?
Yeah.
But it's grown. Okay.
When he moves upstairs, that's when he's in trouble.
Yeah, I've got to kick her out though. That's why I'm in the cellar.
Yeah. That's why I
That's
can't wait to
soundproofing
move.
on the ceiling?
Say that again?
Is that soundproofing on the ceiling behind you?
Yeah, those are egg cartons.
Okay.
And there's
Oh my goodness.
there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And what it does is it stops that that hollowness when you're on the air.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Oh,
just
you
egg
eat a lot of
cartons.
eggs, Harold.
Oh yeah.
Idea.
Yeah, we can scramble them. We can, Napoleon. We can do all sorts of stuff.
Since the last time I was over, Harold, I've been saving my egg cartons now too. I think of all the ones I threw out.
Yeah. You can go to restaurants and pick up the big ones.
Yeah.
Cecile, it's good to see you.
Yeah, I'm around.
I let her out tonight.
All right, let's get things rolling here, guys.
Okay.
All right. What I'd like to do is, just like in every meeting, I'd like to ask everybody to turn off their cell phone ringers, put their dogs in the other room, anything that might interfere or pick up the noise from the microphone, whatever, just either close the door, put them in the other room, whatever it may take so that it doesn't interfere with the meeting, even though I'm going to mute everybody, but it's appreciated, just helps out and be a little more polite towards the guest speaker. Tonight we're doing things a little different as far as Q&A go. There's Marcel in the middle there. We are going to do a moderator. So if you have a question for the guest speaker, what we want you to do is go down and click on the chat button right below on the bottom of your screen, bottom of your Zoom screen. And then what you want to do is you're going to go click to, and then you look for Marcel. And then what you're going to do there is you're going to type your question in and send that to Marcel. Okay. It's really easy, really simple. We just want to curb the free for all with questions and everything. And that way we'll save time and asking duplicate or triplicate questions and all. So go to chat, go to and send your question to Marcel, and he'll field everything and he'll ask the question in your honor. And you can answer, when you send him the question, just leave him your name and your call sign too, and we'll go on from there. If you want to change your name in Zoom, you can right click on your name and go to rename, and you can put your name and call sign in or whatnot so everybody knows who you are. Want to remind everybody about the Monday Night Net, 7:30 p.m., 28,375. We've been having a blast. We've been Marcel's been coming up with topics, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of good stories, a lot of funny stories, interesting stuff. And everybody to join us, you don't have to be a club member. We've had people check in from far and wide, and it's always enjoyable. And tonight we've got our guest speaker is Fred, K1VR, and his assistant, Phil, K9HI, who's here. And our Western Mass section manager, where'd you go, Ray? You're probably on the other screen, KB1LRL. Oh, right, dead center, okay. I don't know how I couldn't see you. Anyways, again, we don't want you to ask questions, okay, out loud. We want you to send your message through chat to Marcel, and and he'll field them and go from there. And I'm just going to, what I've done is I've muted everybody, and I'm unmuting Fred, Phil, and Ray, and or ask them to unmute themselves, and everybody else please stay muted. And that way we can let the meeting go. So the league is everything to ham radio, as everybody knows. It protects frequencies and privileges. It gives the hobby so much more than just a free-for-all without that. It produces QST magazine, which some people think is the only thing the league does, which it's not. It's the spokesperson for ham radio. And each call area of the country has a division manager and section managers and all. So for us, that person is Fred K1VR for the New England section manager, or New England division manager, sorry. And he's going to tell us what he does and what he can do and what the ARRL does and all sorts of things. You've got the floor, Fred.
Thank you very much. Let me tell you that I will be going into a PowerPoint, so you may want to give me
Yep. I'm going to
power to PowerPoint.
Okay.
I'll begin by saying I'm wearing a Boston College sweatshirt this evening. And if anybody here went to BC or has a kid that went to BC and is a radio ham or the like, we're trying to revive the Boston College Amateur Radio Club. And if you have a connection with BC, I'd surely like to hear from you about that. It's one of the things I'm up to. You can message me, and that'd be a good way to start it off. I particularly like to thank Phil Temple's K9HI for showing up. He is our newly appointed vice director. And this coming meeting in December will be the first meeting he attends. So be sure to burden him with all your concerns. Can you see this at the beginning of my PowerPoint?
Not yet. Let's see here. Let's see here. You should be able to. I've got it shared. I mean,
do I have to do anything?
Yeah, go down to the bottom of your screen and click share screen. Or not. There we go. There you go.
Okay. Are any of the panels of additional humans also visible, or is it just the PowerPoint?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, I've got 3 screens, so I just drag it off to another screen, but it's
okay, I see. I'm hiding the thumbnail of it there. We'll do that. There, now it's not a problem. So you can see the opening slide, right?
Yes.
Am I in the right place?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm glad I'm in Hampden County, and this is December 4th. In any event, I am actually in this position because I was elected. I'm sure all of you voted for me. Actually, I recall coming out to one of your meetings to campaign. So I'm hoping that I didn't make such a bad impression. And of course, I'm hoping you're all not only members of the Hampden County Club, but also members of the ARRL. I am a full-fledged member. The first certificate, which says full member, if your screen is big enough, you'll see that it began on the period beginning November 1st, 1956, which I've been licensed since August of 56. And I've been a member continuously since then. I act as a volunteer counsel, and I also support the league with some charitable contributions. Back in 56, my station was very modest. It's an S38B on the left, J38 key, and 6AU7 radio with plug-in coils, originally built by Paul Ryak, then W1ETH, now W1PR. You'll notice the foam to protect my ears from those horrible old Bakelite headphones. Any of you remember those? And to give you an idea of how old I was at the time of this picture, which is 10 years old, if you look on the left, there's a picture of my Little League team. I was the catcher, age 10. Off to college, switching from novice to general class. I was in Maine at Colby College, where I came in second in the sweepstakes with this station. Terrible NCX3. The NCX3 is a terrible station to use on CW, by the way, because they hadn't thought yet about the offset problem. So I was always 800 hertz off of anybody I called, which resulted sometimes in some leapfrogging up the band. This is what it looks like today. This is a pair of K3s. The left-hand station uses an Alpha 87A and the right-hand station an Alpha 78. On the left-hand wall, you'll see triplexers and bandpass filter, a triplexer and bandpass filters, so that I can be, for example, transmitting on 20 meters and listening on 15 meters at the same time. I have a 3-high stack of OptiBeam OB 16-3s on a 100-foot tower in my backyard. On 40 meters is a 2-element Cushcraft Yagi. On 160, on 80 meters, it's a 2-element vertical phased array. On 160, it's a 3-element ground plane. And so I've got lots of switches and knobs, and it's all controlled by software and N1MM as well. I assure you, this is all way beyond my technical capability, and I couldn't do it without the help of some friends. But I did, in fact, build the wood supporting the foot switches on the floor. One of the things that I was asked to do was to talk about what I hope to do while working for the ARRL as a director. And I have spent a lot of time drafting a substitute for the bill we pulled from Congress, which was the ARPA, Amateur Radio Protection Act, and it's going to be the Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act. And we are securing sponsors, and the bill has just come back from the Office of Legislative Drafting. I'll tell you what it does. Basically, it's just designed for a situation where you live in a homeowner association controlled property with land use restrictions, and it would create safe harbor or presumptively approved antennas that are similar to over-the-air reception devices already permitted by an HOA cannot prevent them. And that means a small satellite dish or UHF, VHF antenna, flagpole, which is protected by the right to display the American Flag Act. And then 2 other ideas, thinking that most of the objections have to do with aesthetics. This would approve minimally visible wires or short verticals in the backyard. In addition to being active on the national scene, I've drafted a version for introduction at the state level. And this is what it looks like. It's just been introduced in the New Hampshire legislature by our friend Glenn Aldrich, KC1AAI of the Guilford Meredith district. And a comparable bill has been introduced by NO1ME, who lives in the northernmost city or town in the state of Maine, Caribou, Maine. So we're trying to work at the state level as well as the national level. In other legal news, and I think many of you know I'm a lawyer, so this kind of thing interests me. There was a big, giant-sized, wonderful case that came down in December 2 years ago in Eastern New York, where Meyer Landstein was going to be charged an escrow account of $17,400. And he said, whoa, don't do that to me. I'm going to go to court. They reduced their demand to $5,874. How they came up with that number, I'll never know, plus $1,000 escrow, which meant, of course, that there could be more to come. All of this was involved in putting up a used tower and antenna valued at less than $1,000. And the court ruled that this kind of fee was excessive and constituted more than the minimum practicable regulation. Those are the words from PRB 1 and 47 CFR 9715B, the FCC, the regulation, which has been interpreted to be the least restrictive means. So this was a big win for ham radio. Full disclosure, I was acting as a lawyer in the early stages of this for Lansdene. In case you don't know, in Western Massachusetts, I was also the lawyer at the hearing level for a guy named Chedester, KB1 IPR, where we defeated a maximum height 35 feet ordinance in Whately, Massachusetts, which, for those of you who don't know, is a suburb of Amherst. What other things are happening that's drawing attention these days? Well, the league has just filed opposing a proposed $50 fee for your license for your 10-year license. We're seeking to get expanded tech privileges. You may know that the national convention that was going to be part of Hamcation in Orlando has been canceled, but the boys in Dayton, Ohio say they're going to go forward. We'll see. For those of you who keep wondering about it, my book is out of print, but I'm hoping for the 3rd edition to be out by February 1st. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about how the league operates now that I've gotten a chance to see it. Basically, there are 3 committees. I was elected by my fellow directors to the executive committee, which makes all the decisions in between the 2 annual board meetings. The other big committees are administration and finance, as well as programs and services. I've also just served this year as chairman of the Ethics and Elections Committee. So if you thought that somebody stole the election or the voting machines were rigged, I'd be the guy you complain to. The ARRL has been having board meetings for a very long time, although, frankly, I don't wear those kinds of ties and collars when I attend. This is what people think of when they think of a board meeting, but in reality, it's a fairly copacetic affair. And the league does run on a ton of paper. At least it used to. When we have meetings in purpose, people are forever handing things out. Our Zoom meetings, of course, are all electronic, no paper at all, which makes me wonder why in the world we get these 2-inch binders to start things off when we meet in person. It begins with the ringing of a bell in a very formal way. The meeting has everybody sitting alphabetically by division. Personally, I was hoping for alphabetically by height, but they didn't see it my way. Only directors and officers are allowed to speak. So that means that Phil, should he ever want to speak, can speak only by, believe it or not, a vote of the board. We do follow Robert's rules. And part of the reason for that is you just can't have 40 people trying to contribute and move things along quickly enough, because we really have to be done in 2 days. Motions are distributed by personal mailboxes, and the league has these mailboxes. They move to this hotel every meeting. That's twice a year. And the vice directors really at the meeting have one job that really sticks, and that is that imagine Phil standing there going to the mailbox and getting, for the 2 of us, the mail as it's distributed during the course of the meeting. Motions look like this. This happened to be a motion that I seconded to stop the promotion of the Amateur Radio Parity Act, substituting it with what has subsequently been drafted. In case you didn't realize it, the league is a fairly big organization. It has 87 employees, 2 buildings, And it leases a big warehouse from which the shipping of publications is done. And there's a warehouse crew. They're the ones who meet UPS every day. If you haven't been to headquarters, it's a rather attractive building, and the antennas on top of the building are not W1AW. Rather, the call sign for the club station in the headquarters building is W1HQ. To the left, you'll find the bricks representing donations by members and the benches representing bigger donations by members. If you'd like to donate a bench, talk to me. We can make arrangements. As you can see, they are engraved the way you want them to be engraved. And there's still room for more bricks. W1AW in winter is the building it's been in for, I guess, 80 years or something like that. And this is the building from which all that CW practice, as well as official bulletins and the like, are transmitted. And you'll notice something interesting about this tower. No rotators. That's because from the Northeast, basically everything is aimed west to serve members of the ARRL who are in the United States, of course, and that's mostly Northwest. The League does, in fact, provide a number of services, but my own view is that some of the most important are the representation that you get before the Congress, before the FCC, before world radio conferences to protect our frequencies and the like. Of course, you're all familiar with the contests and the QSL Bureau and magazine QST, but as a member, you can also go online and see QEX. And I think NCJ starting about right now. That's new. And that's the ARRL. And I am now preparing to take some questions. I didn't want to go too long. Marcel, hit me with your best shot.
Well, there's only been 2 questions asked so far, Fred. And the first one, it's a really good one. It comes from Gary Thomas, AA1UE, and he's interested in the youth programs the League has initiated. Mentions that the Beginner magazine is great, and I believe he's addressing On the Air magazine. But he thinks that we need more outreach to bring youth into our aging demographic, and interested in comments or thoughts that you may have on that.
Actually, Marcel, you're absolutely right. It's a terrific question. First, let me just say, if you are relatively new to the hobby and you have not seen On the Air magazine, our brand new magazine, which you can get, you get a choice as a newcomer. You can choose On the Air, or you can choose QEX, or you can choose QST. If you're a newcomer, I highly recommend On the Air. The reviews have been terrific, just uniformly great. They're doing a fabulous job. And you can get On the Air and then still read QST online. So you're actually getting more value today for the $49, which has remained frozen for over 3 years now, than you got 3 years ago, because you get exposure to more magazines. Now, with respect to youth outreach, we're getting more and more active at the collegiate level. There's a couple of college contests a year. There's an organization that has a forum at Dayton every year, sponsored by the ARRL. And as you can tell from the pitch I put out at the start of this, we're trying to revive some interest at the college level. It turns out to be a particularly difficult challenge at the non-technical colleges and universities. The engineers are still interested in RF, but to Colby College, there's no ham radio club there. The Dartmouth Ham Radio Club has a call sign. They haven't been on the air in a zillion years. But for example, Worcester Polytech, W1YK, and Northeastern University, W1KBN, are very active and have really active clubs. I think UMass is also very active now. No, not anymore, Paul? Larry, can you let Paul answer the question about UMass activity?
Yeah, Fred, there's a couple of us who've made some rough attempts. The call sign still exists for the UMass club, but I haven't been able to generate any interest over there. They've actually, the station that used to be in the School of Engineering, I understand, has been taken down, so it would have to be completely reestablished. So it's unfortunate because there's obviously a lot of students there to draw from. So maybe in the future. We've got we have a Facebook page for it, but beyond the 3 or 4 of us who check into that once in a while, that's about all I can say is going on.
Well, I can tell you that that's not uncommon. I'm the general counsel for the Harvard Wireless Club, and in a good year, we have 8 or 9 undergraduate members. We normally have more members of faculty and alumni who are active than undergraduate members. Go ahead, Phil.
Just a quick comment before we leave the subject of on the air entirely, to say that they have an excellent podcast that accompanies the magazine that folks should tune into.
I quite
and
agree.
hopefully that will reach the younger crowd, that they'll be enthusiastic about that.
More on the youth side, you might want to be interested in something called HCRA. This is a national organization of people who are doing interesting experiments. I think their next big thing is they're going to be testing what happens during the
eclipse.
The eclipse coming up in December. And HCRA is very, very youth oriented, and it's scientific experiment oriented. It's a really good thing, and the league is supporting it financially as well. And we're reporting on it. Now, as to attracting more and more youth, that is a coin with 2 sides. There was a time, we know from the demographics, when the entering radio ham was a 12 or 14-year-old boy, generally. Radio hams are 97% male, 95% male. And he was interested in going forward in some sort of technical adventure for life or training or vocation. Our new members today seem to center around a 35-year-old male already in a technical field who's figured out where the girls are, settled down a little bit, and is looking to enjoy a hobby. So it turns out in a rather awkward fashion that if you really wanted to go for growth, you'd be recruiting 35 to 45-year-olds, not 12 to 14-year-olds. But that's not an approach that guarantees the future of the hobby. So the answer is you got to do both. And we try. Have I addressed all of the issues in the question you asked, Marcel?
I believe you have, and that's very interesting. I know there was an article either in QST or CQ about the demographics in the past 2 or 3 months, and I don't think it got as detailed as you just did, but that's really interesting that we should be looking at the 35 to 45-year-olds. Thank you for that. Another question was,
Marcel, before we leave that, it raises one question I really like. Larry, do we have a voting capability here?
You can raise your hands. I guess that's, I don't know how else we would do it really.
If you go to the bottom of your screen and look at reactions, that's the way you can usually cast a vote.
Okay.
Because then you can do a thumbs up in the reaction collection.
Okay.
In any event, I'm wondering what this audience thinks, what this club thinks of the concept of going after, as potential radio hams and new members, the prepper community. I'd like to see whether you, well, if you give me a thumbs up, that'll be a positive vote. And if you don't give me a thumbs up, that'll mean you don't think it's such a good idea. The prepper community.
At your cabinet meeting last January, I know Aaron brought that up.
He did. And that's one of the reasons I'm pursuing it in front of a larger audience, to get your thoughts.
Okay.
Fred, if I could inject the one question on that.
Please.
When you say prepper, where are you going with that? Are you talking about the guy who wants, you know, all the weapons and all the, or are you talking about somebody who is interested in emergency preparedness and, you know, maybe a food cache and backup batteries and alternate sources of energy for his radio station?
I think that's the kind of guy, the second one that you've mentioned, who's more likely to be attracted to what we are offering, what we are doing. If you'll look closely sometime at the people who live in the outer reaches of Alaska, there are tons of the people in the off-grid areas who are licensed radio hams, because it's a way of communicating with the outside world. The kind of guy you're talking about, they're buying Baofengs already. And if they start getting into that and they'd like to start using a repeater, then I think of them as a real attainable addition to the hobby. What do you think, Marcel?
No, I agree. I just wanted to clarify what you meant by prepper, because there seem to be two very different definitions of it.
Well, I don't see us advertising in the NRA bulletin, but I do see us going to the crowd that you've been describing. And there's another outreach that's become very popular in board thinking, and that is that we are paying to send representatives to the annual experimental air show in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, whenever it happens again. The theory being, these are people who already communicate by radio. They like tinkering, and these are our kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have another question, Marcel?
Actually, we've got a few more. I'm going to save this one for later. I think this one you've already kind of addressed. At what age level has most hams, new hams, stayed with the hobby? So I think you kind of covered that with your last one.
Yep.
How will the new law affect the ability to install towers?
Well, the laws that I've just been discussing with you relate to homeowner association land use restrictions. I would not be confident that homeowner associations are readily going to grant permission to all towers that you sometimes see out west, you know, where people are buying 5 acres, 20 acres, things like that. Here in New England, the big problem that would have arisen if the ARRPA had passed came out of the way they defined a homeowner association. It was defined as basically homes paying dues. That was it. That was a huge problem, because if you live a little bit up country and you have what's often called a road association, where there is an association and you pay dues, but all they really do is plow the snow and pick up the trash. And they don't have any rules or board or architectural control committee or the like. They wouldn't know what to do with an application for a ham radio antenna. The way the first bill that we got withdrawn was drafted was going to create a real problem for people who had a lake home or an upcountry house where they were paying dues to have the road plowed and the trash collected. We're staying away from that by having a much stricter definition in the new statute. And by the way, if somebody here is very close to a legislator, I'd be happy to work with you in getting a bill introduced in Massachusetts. But I'm not going to hold out any hope that the bill as we have drafted it will allow you to put up a tower and a trimander. That's not the purpose. We're dealing with situations where basically there are no ham radio antennas today, and we're trying to get something that is useful.
Very good. I think the next comment is offered as something of a compliment, and it's saying that you got your license at age 10, not in college. I'm not sure where that was going.
That's true.
Oh, true.
It's true. I got my license at age 10. I started shortwave listening at age 8. And the truth of the matter is that I've been listening to CW so long that, and this is bragging. It is absolutely bragging. I acknowledge it's bragging, but I can listen to Morse code and read the newspaper at the same time. Just like you can listen to your wife and read the newspaper at the same time.
No comment on that.
Oh, I didn't know what you were doing. Are you really one of those guys who reads the newspaper and pretends to listen to his wife at the same time?
I don't read the newspaper. I'm going to leave it at that.
I think we're having too much fun here, Larry.
Another interesting one. There's been many changes at the league over the past 2 or 3 years. Can you shed any light on what happened with Howard Michael, WB2 ITX?
I can. He was awarded a 1-year renewable contract. The board declined to renew. My opinion, and I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking about what I think caused a majority of the votes. And I think what it was is that he really wasn't an active radio ham, hadn't been on the air in forever, didn't have a rig, doesn't have antennas. And when I was campaigning for the office of director, in various and sundry venues, I would say, and it didn't always get the reaction I was hoping for. Some people were, frankly, appalled. But I would say that if you're going to elect the president of a sex workers union, it should probably be someone who's had sex. And WB2ITX was the CEO of a ham radio organization with 170,000 members, and he wasn't really on the air. And I think that posed a big problem to a majority of the board. Have I answered the question?
That's a very eloquent and thorough answer to the question. Thank you so much. The next one comes from Tom, W1TXT, and he's noticed many times in QRZ that the number of lookups on many call signs are very low, which in his mind means that the operator is inactive, or in many cases may never have become active since getting licensed. He's wondering if the league has looked at how to encourage these inactive operators to become active.
Very incisive thought. First of all, you're right. If you go on QRZ.com and you see 280 lookups, you're basically talking about the number of times a web crawler has touched that page. My daughter, who has a license, has on the order of 230 lookups. She's made 2 QSOs in her life. And they were both while working the public service event called the Head of the Charles Regatta on the Charles River, which she enjoyed immensely, but my enthusiasm for the hobby never rubbed off adequately. Although I think it's not incompatible to be a radio ham and a lawyer, she somehow thinks it's incompatible to be a radio ham and an accountant. She just doesn't see the joy in the technology that I see. I must say that you now know that I've been licensed over 60 years, but to me, when I call and they come back to me, the magic is still there. I say, damn, it worked again. And I really enjoy it. And that's why I got on, and I have a wonderful time on HF. I must say, maybe it's an admission that's going to lose me some votes in the next election, but I do get nosebleeds above 28.5. So the only time I've ever on VHF or UHF is if I'm on a field day or VHF contest with buddies. In the old days, I used to go up to Mount Monadnock with the crowd from Microwave Associates. They were my friends. They lived around here. But other than that, I'm not well equipped above 30 megahertz, except for a handheld on 2 and 440, which, by the way, still remains the best way to talk from the tower into the shack when you're telling somebody to rotate an antenna. And a better method than trying to keep your cell phone line open. In any event, where would you like me to go next?
Let's see. We're just about out of questions, but I'm gonna.
Well, wait a second. Wait a second, Tom. W1TXT? Did I answer your question? No.
No, you certainly didn't.
So go and ask it again, and I'll try again.
Go ahead and unmute yourself, Tom.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yep.
Yeah, so just as I wrote in the chat window, I've been noticing this for years, right? I go in QRZ and I'll do a zip code lookup to see what hams are in my town. You can do wildcard lookups for folks that are familiar. I don't think they're even web crawlers that are doing it. I think they're just generic searches that are happening that are catching these call signs. And then when I go in and look, maybe there's, I don't know, I'll guess 100 people in my town that are licensed. There might be 15 or 20 that are actually active. Those other people that got licenses, I'd sit there and scratch my head and think, why did they go through the trouble of getting not only a technician license, but in many cases, they might be an advanced or an extra class license, and they're inactive. And to this day, I still don't understand it. And I know the league is looking for members, and there seems to be a really huge group of people out there that just are inactive or maybe never came active. And I think there's something, we need to do something to try to encourage them to become active again. And,
okay, keep your microphone open, Tom, while I address a couple of things you're saying. First, I'll give you an example of somebody who got a license with no real goal of becoming active. My daughter was working for IBM right out of college, and she was on the consulting side. And when they assemble teams for big consulting assignments at IBM, they cull resumes, put together a team, and go to work on the project. So one day I get a phone call from her. Dad, I took the course from the PVRC, the Potomac Valley Radio Club. She was living in the Washington, D.C. area. And I took the course, got my technician class license. I have a call sign. Great, Annie, but you've never shown any interest in being a radio ham. Why did you get a license? She said, Dad, I work for IBM. I figured if I put ham radio license on my resume, it would add the kind of sex appeal that would get me on these teams that are being selected by engineers. To which I replied, Annie, you do realize that's the first time that the terms ham radio and sex appeal have ever appeared in the same sentence. So there are people who get licenses for unrelated reasons. Fill out a resume. Frankly, maybe there's more than one person whose picture is in front of me who has a spouse who got a license and didn't really have a demanding influence in ham radio. Put up your hand. Show me your palm if you have a spouse with a license who's not really active. Yeah, see, it happens. In any event, that's one part of it. Another part of it is people who got licensed young and then their interests drifted away. Another part, and I'll give you an example of a kid here in Lincoln, where I live, Lincoln, Massachusetts. I know there's a Lincoln, New Hampshire and a Lincoln, Rhode Island, but I live in Lincoln, Massachusetts. He's interested in high altitude balloons or whatever. He's a balloon kind of guy, an engineering student. And they're putting GoPro cameras into 2-meter transmitters and watching what the balloon sees on the ground. He's not ever going to be on the air in a way that you would find him, but he wanted the license to do legally what he was really interested in doing. And there's a whole bunch of kids who are into high altitude balloons. Plus, there are a bunch of people in ham radio who are doing things that you and I are not doing. I'll give you an example. Out on the West Coast, they're developing mesh communications using the 903 band, which is shared between amateur radio and, frankly, Wi-Fi. They select the channels which are within the ham band, and instead of using those little 4-inch antennas, they're putting them on dishes and working 112 miles on 903 with milliwatts of what would otherwise be a Wi-Fi hotspot. They're doing very interesting ham radio things, and eventually this is going to wind up being something that we do use in emergency communications. But in the meantime, they have licenses and you don't see them on the air. There's another part of ham radio that we don't talk enough about, and that is the fastest growing part of the Dayton Hamvention is what's called 4 Days in May. Anybody here? Put up your hand if you've heard of 4 Days in May. Okay, there's a bunch of people. Good. You too, Frandy, huh? This is these people who get together with build-a-thons, and they're building these little things that you can stick in your pocket and all sorts of other small stuff. Sort of reminds me of Tom and Jerry from Popular Electronics in the 50s. But it is a fast growing part of the hobby. And this club with its Rock Mite project is an example of something happening in that world. So now I'll come back to address the question you've asked, which is, how can we go after the people who have licenses but aren't on the air and haven't really become active in any way? Lots of thinking going into that. And I've been kicking and screaming and trying to put forward ideas there for 15 years. So far I've been a voice crying in the wilderness, but for example, I have spoken with Martin Jew of MFJ, and he's willing to put an ARRL brochure into every box he ships if it doesn't add to his postage, to encourage people who are buying those first kits to consider joining the league. And I think we have other initiatives that can take advantage of that kind of thing. We have not worked closely enough with the American Red Cross, whatever is left of scouting. And I think that there are opportunities, and I think that the current board is going to be trying to explore more of that. In particular, the new CEO did not come from the electronics research world or the finance world, as his two predecessors did. He came from the marketing world. He'd been the COO of David Yurman, a luxury jewelry operation. And he knows something about selling. And I think he's really good at selling. And I'm hoping that something will come out of that. Now, there's one person whose call sign I can't read here because it's under something, who's just said, suggestion, make the first year with new license free. The ARRL has proposed in its filing to the FCC on the $50 for 10-year issue that the FCC waive the fee for license applicants under the age of 26. In other words, we as a board are completely agreeing with your kind of thinking.
Yeah, I'm not, if I can interrupt, I'm not as concerned about them joining the league, given I know that's a goal that the league has. I'm concerned about the league not doing things to bring those people, I'll call it, back into the hobby. And then eventually I think they'll join the league if their interest rekindles. I have a son who has a license, and he had literally 2 QSOs on the air after he got his general class license, and hasn't operated since because of a numbskull on 80 meters turned him off. So I understand that situation. I'm a retired IBMer. I completely understand what you're talking about. But there are people renewing their licenses, and they're still inactive. And there's a reason for that, and I'm not sure what that is. And I think the league really needs to, and maybe this gentleman coming from a marketing and perhaps sales background can, spend some money to investigate that and determine why these people are inactive, pull them back into the hobby somehow. And then, this would be the league having to put up the money to do it. And then those people would eventually, I think, come back and join the league and, help grow the league that way.
Tom, your question couldn't be more spot on. You've heard of product marketing consultants.
Came from sales, totally understand.
Well, there's also such a thing as service marketing consultants. The ARRL has hired such a firm, which is reworking the website and proposing programs to attract the kind of person that you're talking about. The once licensed, never really active.
Yep.
And we don't have a report yet back from this consulting firm, but we spent serious money on it, and I'm hoping it's going to prove to be fruitful. But you couldn't be more right, and I totally agree with you.
Okay. Well, hopefully they'll do something, because every time I go out and do a zip code search or something and I poke around in QRZ, I just, I think of the number of hams that, we talk about are licensed in the States, but there's such a high percentage that are inactive. It's just a shame that they're just sitting there doing nothing. We could have such a reservoir of trained operators out there if they just got brought back into the hobby somehow. But anyway.
You're absolutely right. Speaking of activity, by the way, you'll notice that I do not have a sterilized background. That cable reel is because I just cut 4 new phasing lines from a 40-meter 4-square. So I'm sitting like in a real ham shack, and I don't have a virtual background. I apologize for not presenting a prettier picture, but I'm hoping that you'll appreciate the realism of a guy who really still plays with coax and soldering irons and the like.
Fred?
Thank you.
I will tell you that as a lawyer, I'm the kind of guy you really shouldn't leave alone in a room with a soldering iron. But I do love it as part of the hobby.
Fred, Phil here.
Go ahead,
I've
Phil.
got a few more questions for you, Fred. First, for the entire group.
Marcel, could we let Phil just fill in for?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Fred, you may want to mention to folks about the lifelong learning program, which I think will go a long way in bringing back people who have gotten their license but haven't necessarily done anything with it.
Well, Phil, you're absolutely right. I have not fulfilled my obligation to hit every one of the talking points. Why don't you pick it up?
Well, it's something that was introduced earlier in the year. At the moment, they've been accumulating videos of people who are giving presentations on specialized topics. They hope to build up a video library. They also have webinars that they're doing. And I think it's a very exciting program, and I think it could go a long way in renewing interest of people. You've also got that really innovative program that the Nashua Area Radio Society does, Ham Boot Camp. And I'm kind of hoping that you and I, Fred, can have a chat about that sometime and see if we could get something going on a national level along those lines.
Good, well said. And the ARRL will be curating the zillions of videos that are on YouTube. We'll be organizing them and making them findable by topic on the website. Marcel, you do have the prettiest background on my screen. Go right ahead and ask the next question.
Okay. Well, a comment came from our webmaster, Vanessa W1IRL, WIRL, who I asked her to actually post this link on our webpage. It's for a wonderful little cartoon that deals with Alaska and children growing up there, and how they are using ham radio to communicate. One of their colleagues, one of their friends lost dogs. It's really, I think it's apropos and to the point of prepping and whatnot. So I asked her to post that on our website for everybody to see.
Thank you, Ann.
Let's see now. How is the progress of giving techs a taste of HF privileges going? Getting new hams onto HF might get them excited about ham radio and interesting in upgrading, and especially since 2 meters doesn't offer a whole lot of activity incentive these days. I'm guessing this is that Larry?
Yes.
Okay. All I can see is Larry. My screen is foreshortened. Okay, that's from Larry, W1 AST.
So I have not mastered this topic, just as other members of the board have not mastered the intricacies of the legal posture that the league takes in front of the Congress and the FCC. But I think that my recollection would allow me to answer this way. We have a committee working on a set of technician privileges, and they haven't yet issued a report. Phil, do you know anything more about that?
I thought I saw a frequency chart that the league was proposing.
Yes, but I don't think it's been approved by the board yet. That's why.
I see.
So, Larry, W1AST, I think the answer is we're moving in that direction, and you'll just have to sit on your hands and wait.
One of the things I've been trying to do and trying to have the club do is when techs get their license is to pre-COVID, of course, invite them into the shack and introduce them to HF privileges, HF operating, and try to get them excited and interested in upgrading. And that's where techs having some HF privileges, I think, will really open the door and get them interested in upgrading and getting them more active. Because 2 meters, at least around here, sucks.
This business of mentoring is completely consistent with the program at Nashua that Phil mentioned. They're doing a wonderful job of that, and I hope every club will contact Fred Kemmerer, AB10C, to pick up on the kinds of initiatives that his club is engaged in. They have had
quite a bit.
They have had an astounding growth rate in activity of newly licensed hams. They may be doing the best job of it in the country. frankly.
Yeah, I talked to Fred often, and I know his club was Club of the Year at Dayton in
Yeah.
19 and 19.
Yeah. Or as we say, the last Dayton.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Marcel?
Okay. One of the members, Ted, K3FEC, noticed that or commented about the league maybe needing to do more to reach out to very newly licensed hams, get them involved on the local level and whatnot. I replied to him that at some point, I think it becomes the onus falls to the clubs, the local clubs. The league does publish all new licensees on the webpage, does it not? Every month? I think I see a list.
When I do my section news in the website, I also try to put in the newly licensed hams for the area. So I try to give you that information on a monthly basis as to the newly licensed ones.
But that's Ray's initiative. The league is not doing that nationally.
Okay, that may be where I'm seeing it, Ray, because of my connection.
So my view is you should compliment Ray and chastise me.
Okay, or as I pointed out to Ted, I think that at some point this becomes the onus or the onus falls on the local clubs, and I intend to bring this up at our next board meeting that we should have somebody doing outreach to new licensees.
Terrific idea, and I would add one thing to it. I would add one thing to that, Marcel.
Yeah,
and that is, if a face walks into your club's meeting and you don't know that face, is someone going over to welcome that person?
We already do that. We already do that. I mean, we haven't had a meeting for, since last, was it March or last day?
March.
March was our last meeting, but we do that already. I've been emphasizing that for the last 2 years. And,
excellent.
If I can interject.
Yeah.
Here in Eastern Massachusetts, because I also serve as assistant section manager, there's been an initiative on the part of a couple of clubs to harvest the addresses of new hams and send out customized postcards to these folks, inviting them to the meetings. So something you all might want to think about.
That's something we can definitely do. Okay.
Yeah, K1TW can give you more information on that.
Yeah, I think I've talked to Tom too. That's no, but we do when new hams get on, we try to welcome them and give them a safe place to talk and offer them more than what the local repeater club offers, because there's some hams on there that are not good for AM radio. So welcoming them into the club and making them feel welcome and helping them in any way we can is something that we offer, and we've been doing now for, I'd say, at least 3 or 4 years.
Excellent.
Larry, one of the things I had done for a while and then just stopped doing it was actually scanning the area when I saw new licenses and just sending them out a quick card saying that you're new to the hobby, if I could be any help, and I gave them my cell phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I sent about 10 of them out, and I actually got one person that called, but a lot of people are just afraid to ask questions on the air, especially, but they'll call somebody, and of course, being a stranger. But I think if we sent something out on like club, a club card or a club QSL card with the same kind of message, it might encourage it. Because also, I don't know the age of some of these people. If they were 14 and they got this postcard from some guy, who knows what they're up to. But it might be a good club project.
We can definitely do that. I mean, it's something we'll have to talk about the next board meeting too. But when I do something sort of like that, when somebody joins the club, I send out an individualized email, telling them about the club and everything club offers. And the club does have on the website a place where members can go and ask a question without worry about asking it publicly. They can ask it privately. It'll come to me. If I can't answer it, I'll send it out to the board or those who are more suitable to answer the question, giving them the privacy that they may need or want. We've had a few people do that, not a lot, but it's there for, to protect the person who's asking the question. So somebody doesn't say, oh, I've heard that question answered 1,000 times. They must be stupid. That avoids that and gives everybody more respect too. Okay. Any more questions, Marcel?
There actually is. Aaron is asking if he could be unmuted to ask a question directly.
Yeah. Go right ahead, Aaron. Where's your? Yeah.
So I just wanted to say real quick about the hams not being active. I've taught several classes now, and we've had, at least in every class, we've had 2 or 3 people who wanted a ham radio license only to talk to each other. Not necessarily just to talk to the public. They wanted to use it like FRS radios that actually will go more than about 100 yards. And that's at least a portion of the people who live in any given area, is that they have them for specific purposes. And I know quite a few people who have them only for emergency preparedness. And yes, they should get on the air and they should be more practiced, but they just want to have it in case of Snowmageddon. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, I think it's a valid point, and it's the kind of thing that I think in due course you'll be seeing touched in On the Air magazine, which is the question of, wouldn't you like to talk to somebody in addition to the guy across town?
Well, and also, for example, my wife has a license, and she has an interest in it. She has a rig in her car. She does get on the air, but usually only VHF. And she got her privileges so that she could talk to me when I was doing emergency work, because I work with my town and areas. And if I'm deployed, she wants to be able to reach me. And if Snowmageddon has happened, there's no way she can do that under normal circumstances. So she has a license for that reason. And she is kind of active, but only on VHF.
Well, I do hope she'll be more active in the future, independently. But I'm delighted that she's got some interest in getting on the air. That's a good thing. With respect to the prepper type community, I think what we have to pitch at them is that when Snowmageddon arrives, it's too late to start learning.
Yeah, and you do see a lot of, you and I have talked about this at length, Fred, about preppers and stuff. And I've sent you lots of articles and made a nuisance of myself.
You are the cause of the interest that I introduced to the board on that subject. And I thought I thought those articles were really interesting.
So there is a prepper movement of groups that do ham radio pretty actively and encourage its use in their groups. And so it's just like any other group of people. There's a lot of people who do 4x4ing that, driving up and down dune buggies that have ham radios, and people in MRC that have ham radio licenses, the Medical Reserve Corps, and all of these things there's some overlap with lots of these groups.
So Aaron, are you aware of the, up in northern Maine, they have a really big snowmobile highway that they call US 95 as a giggle. And there are many places on that snowmobile highway that are far, far from the ability to use a cell phone. And I'm told that some of the hams in Maine are working to make sure that those people understand that ham radio can serve them better than cell phones.
Yeah, and I think that's I haven't seen that one specifically, but there is definitely, we see all the time that someone will be in a crisis that having a ham radio license comes in handy. And we just need to make sure that we as hams make ourselves available to any groups that we know of help them with training, licensing, and education. And now that I've completely derailed the topic at hand, I return you to your regularly scheduled program.
Marcel, je te passe le micro.
I'm sorry?
I said, je te passe le micro. I give you the microphone.
Very good. Just a couple more questions. Actually, one question and one comment. And one of them was, we accept your, I don't know how to put it, you're taking the blame for nationally not publishing the new licensees. You publish the silent keys. I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm dead. I want to talk to these new guys now. The other one is, it's a great question. How do you see QST? Is it a technical publication? Is it a membership journal? What exactly do you think of QST?
Funny you should ask. QST is no longer the all-encompassing journal it was when you were a kid, or when the questioner was a kid. And the reason for that is the contesting stuff, a lot of it has been cleaved off into NCJ. The really technical experimental stuff has been cleaved off into QEX. The real beginner stuff has been cleaved off into On the Air, all of which are available to members now. It's a tremendous value, tremendous member benefit. So QST is becoming narrower by trying to meet the needs of the greater number of radio hams. That's the way I see what's going on right now.
Very good. That's all we have, Larry. That's all the questions, all
I've
the
actually got a
comments.
personal question, Fred. Is there any chance that advanced class licensees will ever be grandfathered into extras?
If you're asking me to prognosticate, I don't see it happening.
No, I don't either.
So I'll ask you a personal question. You gonna vote for me next time around?
Well, starting in, let's see, August of '81, I'll be advanced for 40 years. So, or
Does that mean
August of 21.
that mean I'm not gathering your vote? All politicians are looking for votes all the time. You got to understand that.
Yeah. Let's see. Are there anybody else that hasn't asked a question that wants to ask a question?
Notice how he ducked the question.
The skilled politician.
Being a president, I have some rights, but anybody else have any questions? We've been trying to have Marcel field the questions and ask them for everybody. If anybody else before we shut down? Fred, you did a great job. Thank you very much. I'm wondering if Phil or Ray want to add anything. Where'd Ray go? I missed Ray. He's out of my picture.
Ray's here.
Yeah, I actually had a few comments that I was kind of sitting on hands because you brought up some topics that they have been kind of near and dear to my heart since I took on the role of section manager, and that's been mentoring and outreach. And even though the league really needed to and is coming around as far as getting things and programs together to get the tools and the publications and promotions geared more towards, youth and new memberships. It all comes down to the local level. And I think it was Tom that mentioned this, that, you got to start off on a local level. And that's, like Fred said, do you welcome this person that you've never seen before at a club? And do you give them something when they've passed their license to say, here's a little something. It's got our some numbers and some links and some people and some tips on how to get off the ground. Now, it's not going to hit everybody, but for those that are interested in radio communications, that's the way to go, is get back into the Elmering and outreach, which made Nashua hugely successful. And, you know, and I'll be free to admit that the Hampton Club has been my favorite club because they are hitting all the marks, and they're my biggest club. They're doing the best job I've seen. And I really think that, you know, all you guys ought to scatter and go to all these other clubs and inspire all these other ones to do exactly what you guys are doing. And it takes people. It takes commitment of a certain degree to reach out to the individual that mentioned something about doing the zip code scan. How about taking it upon somebody to say, let's send out some cards, or let's send out an email. Let's find out what's going on with them. You know, give them some, let them know, hey, look, we miss you. You know, is there anything going on? Do you need some help with the technical stuff? Or at least get an idea as to why they're not active. You know, it could be that life is just getting in the way. You know, instead of asking why, go for the answers. See what's going on. See what makes them tick. It may inspire you to take and maybe alter course a little bit, maybe come up with something that may be attractive to them, make them more active. So, and again, the website has a bunch of stuff that I've added. I've included a listing for club speakers. I've got nets listings that are available in there now, the mentoring guide. And yeah, Aaron, I'm going to put it out there, but we are working on a new website, and that's going to be a bit more user friendly. Aaron's been in the project with a few others, mostly for the Erie side, but they've decided, hey, we're going to mold this all into one nice, beautiful little setup. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And yeah, I do owe you a section report. I got to type it up this weekend. But you know, guys, Hamden, you got, yeah, you know, I can't say it enough. You guys do a great job. Keep at it. I would love to see COVID lift so I can get out there and visit you guys again. I just get so inspired out there. So thank you for your efforts, and keep promoting the hobby out there. Thank you.
Well, we just do what we can do, and the big thing is having the support of the board that'll take my ideas and everybody else's and run with it. And we're starting to get volunteers from outside the board that want to step in and do things without having a board position, which is good. So we're starting to get that too. Building excitement by keeping everybody busy with new ideas.
Larry, before I go, I just want to engage in some of this outreach and give greetings to our newly licensed ham KW23403.
Okay, what? Oh, okay, I saw that. He just checked in. Yeah.
Hey, Larry.
Yes.
Actually, he or she just, actually, I think it's a he, just texted me and said that he and his wife are new members of the club and they would like the opportunity to introduce themselves to the group. I don't know if everybody wants to, Fred and Ray and Phil want to stay around for that. But Tom, W1TXT, asked if he may make a comment before we close.
All right, well, let's do this first. And you look familiar too, so I may have talked to you at one time, but come on in and KW2403. Let's hear your names and your call signs, and welcome to Ham Radio and the club.
Hi, I'm this is Kevin and Carol Washington. We just joined last week. We signed up for the technician class in February. I started studying for the ham technician class probably over a year ago, and as you had said, life got in the way, so I'm kind of like back on track here to get it done. We're both we're from Granville, Mass.
Okay.
We're both veterans of the Granville Police Department, and interested in getting our ham license and starting communication. I had read that it was a good idea to start listening, so I know you're gonna laugh, but I started out getting a scanner. I got a Bearcat, and I got a Bearcat BCD 536 HP, and ended up doing quite a bit of work over this past several weeks, trying to get different signals in. I ended up buying a diamond disc cone antenna, putting that in. I put in RG8X cable, found out that it was attenuating the signal too much, so I ended up buying LMR 400, put that in. Still wasn't getting the signal I want, ended up putting an LNA on the line. Finally boosted the signal in the 800 megahertz range to where I could actually, get voice communications come in, which I was very excited about. I ended up getting a smart RT SDR and an SDR RTL, and I've been working with those as well. So, but I'm listening. It makes more sense to me when I see the spectrum analyzer, when I see the signals. It connects with me better to have the visualization than just, okay, here's the band, here's the wavelength. But then I went through the trouble of, putting up my own spreadsheet and putting in the calculations so that I know what the wavelength and what the size of my dipole antenna needs to be for various frequencies. And so it's been a lot of fun doing the research and getting the software working and fighting with the hardware. And so I'm sure you've all been through this many years ago, but it's brand new to me. And we really are interested in, getting our licenses. But we have the books. And for the technician class in February, I believe it's only 5 sessions.
Right, yes.
And what we were planning on doing is going through the book, cover to cover before the class, and then being able to review the material in more depth in the class. And then I'm wondering how long after that we should continue to study and get ready for the test.
I'm not, I don't know. I'm not part of the teaching. Mike N1TA is, and he's not here tonight, but the session will be open an hour before and an hour after the class for extra questions and such. I can put you in touch. If you drop me an email, I can put you in touch with Mike and he can tell you more. You can email me at w1ast@arl.net. Or on the HCRA, HCRA.org, I'm listed as the president. You can send any one of us.
Okay.
It'll work its way to me, and such, and I can help you out more via email. But Mike's teaching is one aspect I didn't get into, but I'll put you in touch with Michael and he can help you out. Mike's doing the organizing for the class.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we want to prepare and be able to get as much out of the class, so that we can be,
Well, it sounds like you're 8/10 of the way there. You just need to do a little more studying and take the test. But anyways, welcome aboard. It's a great hobby, and
Great hobby and a great club, Larry.
Yeah, we have a great club. A lot of activity, a lot of diverse interests, and a lot of fun things. And who was it? Gary or Aaron? Somebody else wanted to say something.
Actually, it's Tom, W1TX2.
Oh, Tom. Come on in, Tom.
Sure, thanks. And congratulations to the new folks from Granville. I'm down in New Hartford, Connecticut. So welcome to the club and welcome to Ham Radio. It's great. You've done a lot already on your own, figuring things out. I just want to respond to Ray for a second. Ray, we've done a lot of things that you said in a club that I belong to locally here in Connecticut, as far as reaching out to those people, within the zip codes and sending out mailings and things like that, and got virtually no response. But one thing that I was successful with, just personally, as far as mentoring people, was lending out gear. And believe it or not, I lent out a TS2000, not the one I've talked to you about, Larry, but a different one that I had, to a gentleman in Florida for 18 months. And he does an unbelievable amount of stuff with ham radio now. He's just so involved. But he went from nothing all the way up through, and I believe he's an extra class now. Another gentleman I lent a radio, another TS2000 that I've had 4, Larry. Long story. But I lent another ham, a TS2000, for about 6 months, and he's a general class, involved in areas and a lot of different things now as well. The extra class, I didn't say that. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because I also opened up my radios for online access for years, and this is before remote hams or anything like that was available. And I had people connecting up to my system here that I built. I just cobbled it together with different pieces of software that were available at the time. And I actually had a sign-up sheet that I put online that people used to get on the gear so they could operate. And these are people that were in, restricted dwellings where they couldn't have put up an antenna, or maybe they had lost interest in the hobby and got back into it because they were able to get online. So I'm mentioning it because a couple of reasons, because maybe folks can do that extra step in mentoring to maybe loan out some excess gear that they have to a ham. And I know it's a leap of faith to do that because you always worry you're not going to get it back. But also, and Larry, I don't know if the club has done anything as far as building like a remote station that people could get into. And I know those things exist online as well with subscriptions and things. But I was just sitting here thinking, gee, it'd be great if something was available like that. If it's not today, that maybe new members could get online, have access to it, some minimal mentoring, and then get their feet wet with a station and become more comfortable, and then maybe move forward and purchase their own gear, put up their own station. So
I think the use of equipment like that and lending it out, yeah, it's a leap of faith, and and that's something that every club encounters it. They're going to have a silent key come around once in a while, and what's to say that instead of selling it off, taking some of the good gear, turning it over to the club trustees and using it kind of like a lending library.
Well, let me say something too. For the last 5 to 6 years or so, approximately, we've had 2 pieces of HF gear that I've been in charge of, that I've been loaning out to new hams. Maybe even a little longer than that, but roughly 5 or 6 years now. We had the donation of 2 HF rigs, and they do get loaned out periodically. Right now, one is on loan, the other one's sitting down in my basement. There have been times when both have been out, and both have gone on to, everybody pretty much who's borrowed one has gone on to buying new HF gear and antennas and stuff. So we've been doing that for a while in limited availability. An online station sounds interesting, Tom. We'll have to
I got a friend that within the club, the Montechusett Club, he just built a huge station with a K3 and a KPA 500, and he has got. I'm telling you, I'm still sore from we're in the woods putting up 160 dipoles and all kinds of dipoles in the trees, and then a windstorm would take them down and we're putting them back up again. But it's all remote. He lives in Leominster, and his remote station is in Fitchburg at another ham's house. And and he says, if anybody wants to, learn HF remote, it's there. So that's something that's definitely added value to not only our club, but also the Mohawk Club over in Gardner. Both of them have been using those for even contesting, and gotten some great results. But it is a lot of work and a lot of money.
Well, it's different things we can look into. Anyways, any more questions here? And anything? Fred and Phil and Ray, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank everybody for joining us at the meeting here. Just a couple of things. Next month is January, and Harold N1 FTP is going to be talking on awards that anybody can earn, collecting paper and stuff. There's some cool stuff you can do without having to do crazy things. In February, we've got fox hunting techniques and gear, 3 different ways to that different people use to go fox hunting. In March, we've got Club Log, what it can do for you and what you want to do with it. In April, we've got Show and Tell is returning, and we're hoping to have some new basic rules. But if you're building or assembling things, get ready to present it in April for Show and Tell. In May, we're not confirmed yet, but we hope to have Mariusz, KB1 MDS, talk about what he went through to get his class at was it Putnam Vocational or one of the schools, talk to the ISS. And then, of course, in June, we've got elections and hopefully prep for field day. That remains to be seen. So we got some good things going on. Don't forget about the Monday Night Net on 10 meters, 28,375. Anybody else want to make announcements before we close the meeting? Aaron, anything new from Franklin County? Or is he gone again? All right.
I'm here.
Okay. Any announcements from Franklin County? Are you guys, when's your next meeting?
Our next meeting is on the 14th, and so we're having it at 7 p.m. We're going to have a trivia session over Zoom, and it's open to anybody. Membership meetings like yours are open to anybody who shows up. And so if you want to show up and compete for amazing prizes that I'm paying for out of my own pocket, please show up, and we'd love to have you. And if not, well, fine.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Fred, any last words before we close the meeting down?
Thank you all for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming out. Everybody have a safe weekend. Hope to hear you on the 160-meter contest. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a good holidays, a good new year, and we'll see you in January. And all. So if you guys want to hang around and chat, go right ahead. I'll keep it open for a bit, and a recording of this will be up on the website in sometime in the next week or so. So thanks for stopping in tonight, guys, or gang, or everybody.
Happy holidays.
Good night, everybody. 73s.
Take care, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Gary, how was the meal?
Comment, I guess.
Thanks, Larry.
Oh, you're welcome, Ted. Have a good night.
Yep. Good job, Larry, as always.
Yeah, before you go, run away, Ken. Well, depending on the craziness of the snow, maybe I can get the cable over to you tomorrow. If not, maybe
It's
the next
it's
week.
here and ready to go.
We're not getting snow.
I put up an antenna last year and the same thing, and we got no more snow after that. So that's my part.
Snow.
Yeah, just let me know whenever.
The you guys that are studying, the Washingtons that are studying, I've already forgotten your names. I'm terrible with names. Can you give me your names again, please?
Kevin and Carol.
Kevin and Carol. Okay, great.
He's
Thank you.
Kevin.
I'm Larry.
Larry.
I'm the president.
Glad you cleared that up. Welcome.
I'm the instigator of everybody to get things done and do things, and I have no ideas. But feel free to contact me anytime. You can reach me at w1ast@arl.net.
That's on the website, right?
On the website. Email, text, phone call, whatever you'd like. If when you get your license as a tech, you'll have 10-meter privileges. If you want to borrow the other rig we have, you're welcome to do that. I don't think I have any more antennas. I've given them all out, and they've been kept by the people I've loaned them to. But
Well, we bought a couple of Baofangs some years back. Never really did much with them, but I believe with an adapter I can hook it up to my discount antenna.
yes,
So
if you want to program, there's a great free program called Chirp.
okay.
Because programming by hand is about as painful as you can get.
I heard that. Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to program a radio. I've got some of the club Baofangs, but I've got a couple of Yaesus, and my Kenwood is like disgustingly easy, but the Baofangs are a pain in the ass to program.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Chirp is free if you have a program. You have the cable too.
Okay.
Just Google Chirp and you'll find it.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Great, thank you.
We've been, some of our members have been hanging out. We have access to the W1BR machine on the Soldiers Home, which is 146.715.
You can
out there, and we might have a net starting up again in January, hopefully, if I can find a net control. Gary? You haven't committed.
I'm getting there.
Haven't heard nothing out of him tonight.
Hey, Larry?
Yeah, I'm Larry.
I was just going to ask you, when you ever get a chance, can you send me some information on setting up the SSTV for transmit?
Sure, sure.
How you set it up on your radio, since
Yep.
we have the same?
Yeah, I had it on. It's on my list to do, and I never quite got to it this week.
Yeah, oh, no problem. It's no rush, just, you know.
I know. Well, tell you what, if you don't hear from me by Monday, drop me a little reminder email.
Okay, fine.
Because sometimes other things get stuffed in the way instead. You know. One of the things we do, Kevin and Carol, is we have we do some fox hunting, which is hidden transmitter hunting, which you guys might or might not be interested in. And we have, well, eventually we'll have 2 fox boxes, but we have 1 fox box. It's in an ammo kit. Ken, can you show them what the fox box looks like?
Be back in a minute.
It's basically a battery and a radio and an interface in an ammo can with an antenna. And Ken's got one of them. He's been hiding it, and it gets hidden to a place and gets locked around a tree or a fence, and then a clue is given out where it might be. And usually the clue is within 3 or 4 miles of where the fox box is hidden. So then with your HT or with your radio, you can go to the frequency it transmits on. Here's the fox box.
Yeah.
You can go to the frequency that it's on. You can send a certain tone out, and it'll cause the fox box to transmit, and it sends out a series of tones. Then it identifies in CW, and you, using direction finding gear, an antenna, and a attenuator, try to home in on it. It's kind of like hide and seek with ham radio or geocaching with ham radio. And it's a lot of fun, and you know, you go tromping through the woods, and sometimes you walk right by it, you don't see it, you don't hear it, and but it's something we've been doing. We've had as many as a dozen people out hunting for it. We've had a few problems with our first fox box. We just changed the interface. Hopefully it's fixed, and we're in the assembly phase of the second one. And right now, Ken's got 1 key. I've got another key. And when the second one comes out, I'll find somebody else to take, besides myself, to take the key so we can do hide with it too. Larry, KD1RV has come with me a few times, and Ted has too, and some other people. And
a lot of fun.
It's crazy fun.
Yep.
It's crazy fun. It's and it can make you crazy too.
I
drive you crazy, that's for sure.
I've gotten hooked on that back in the 90s when there was a real fox.
Yeah, I used to do it in the 80s too. So it's when my son was little, he was in his baby seat, and then the car seat. We used to go fox hunting with him, and he used to have a blast. And then my son's now 25, so that's changed a little bit. He's doing his own thing now, but the fun of going hunting is there, and it's a lot of fun. Just one facet of things we're trying to do that you can do safely, social distance by yourself. You might bump into some other hunters out there, but you can do it safely by yourself and have fun. And then we have a group, Western Mass Fox Hunters, or WMA Fox Hunters, and you can join for free, and you get the information. You can see when other people find it, or they'll take a picture. It's a lot of fun. Most of us are using under $50 worth of gear to find it. It's most of us are using like a tape measure antenna or a little Yagi beam and an attenuator, and then you just need an HT. And my wife comes with me. In fact, she asked me a week ago, she said, when are we going to start fox hunting again? She's working from home again, so she's being locked in the house for 5 days, and she wants to get out on the weekends. And it's something we did a lot. There's a group in Connecticut. They have 4 fox boxes, and we've gone out in any given day and gone after 2 to 4 of them. We bring a picnic lunch in the car, and we spend all Saturday hunting for them. And sometimes they're easy. Sometimes those guys are like crazy. some of the way
Yeah.
they hide things, they're absolutely nuts. I mean, super, super sneaky stuff. Really dirty.
Yeah, you gotta have the thought in your mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you want to know more, I can tell you more. The guys in Connecticut, or some of them are just filthy the way they hide those things. They're really sneaky. But that's one thing the club's doing. With Marcel, we're getting into ballooning, and that's in the beginning phases. You know, when we can get together, there's a lot of things that go on with the club, including, you know, going over somebody's house, like my house or somebody else's house, and we'll get you on the air with our license and let you get on HF and experience other modes and other frequencies, and a lot of fun. We've been doing the 10-meter net, which I mentioned last week. I think we had like a dozen people signing in. If you have a receiver that can receive 10 meters, your SDR, you can listen to on 28,375 at 7:30 Monday nights.
Oh, hang on 1 second. I just wanted to write that down. What was the frequency?
28.375.
375 megahertz?
Yes.
Okay.
7:30 p.m. Marcel runs it. He's in Chicopee, and then the rest of us, some have amps, some don't have amps. So you may hear some, you may hear others. You may.
What day is it?
Monday night.
Every Monday night?
Every Monday night. We had a 2-meter net last year for beginners and for new hams and stuff, and we're hoping that will start up again in January. We had plans. We had a ham class scheduled for last April. Yeah, it was last April. It got postponed. We ended up doing it on Zoom in mid-July. That was a weekend crash course, kind of something new for the teachers as well as the students. And we decided with the new course, we're better off branching out 1 day a week for 5 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Work
What
in progress doing it through Zoom.
What modulation should I set the SDR for? NFM, FM?
Upper sideband.
Oh, okay. Upper sideband. Okay.
Let's see here. Gary, you're a new ham. What can you offer?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Besides wine.
Yeah, he looks a little.
I don't know. I'm kind of in a passive mode right now, just taking it all in.
Well, considering the bottle's about half empty, I can understand that.
Yeah, you got it.
Man, all I'm drinking is water here.
Oh boy.
Larry, you want to add something? You've been a ham for a while.
Well, if you're interested, I've got two radios, HF radios for sale. One's at a 590 SG by Kenwood, and the other one is a ICOM 7200, not the 7300, and yeah, reasonable price when you're ready if you're interested, and just see me.
Okay.
I know Tom W1TXT has a TS2000 for sale. He says it's mint. It's 160 through 440. I think he's looking for like 850 for that. And he's got an ICOM 706 Mark II-G for sale too, which is more of a mobile rig. But there's a lot, when you're available, there's rigs to borrow, rigs to buy, and of course there's always new too.
If you ever go mobile, that's the rig to get. I've got that, and it's works great.
I've got a Kenwood HF I go mobile with. How about you, Ken? Any words for would-be hams?
Oh, just to get active. You know, don't just listen. Get out there any way you can. You know, yeah, you learn more by doing, right?
You don't have to call CQ all the time. You hear people in there. Just give your call sign once you get it, and you know, they'll come back to you.
Yep.
We have, you know, if you need help putting antennas up or doing things, we got lots and lots of resources in the club.
Yeah, at some point I'd like to, go over what I've got set up right now. I drew it up, I have a schematic because that's what I do for work. So, that's the way I think about it. And that's the way I, visualize it so that I can understand the different parts and what's going on. So, that would be good just to maybe, get some comments on how I got it, how I got it all connected right now
Sure.
and kind of what I'm seeing as far as, response is concerned, signal strength. There's some strange things I see because I'll see, an SNR that's, like maybe 18 and it'll be very, very clear. And yet I'll see one at 23, 24, and it's not as clear. And I'm like going, I'm not sure what that means because I would assume that the greater the SNR, the better the signal, the better the clarity, but that's not what I'm seeing. So, there's little things like that I'm learning.
Yeah, well, like I said, we've got, if you go to the website, there's a little members only section, and in there you can ask a question and I'll put you in touch with the right person. And we've got, I'm not a technically oriented person. I'm more of a planner and organizer and an idea person and instigator. And but we've got some extremely technical people in the club and everything in between. So we'll pair you up with the right person, and if he's not the right one, let me know. And there are others to choose from too.
Great.
It's a great hobby. It's I got my license at 14. I'll soon be another age in a couple of days, but I've had my license now. 27, going on 40. On March it'll be 44 years. So.
Wow.
It's great. It's all my close friends are through ham radio, and my wife has made some good friends through ham radio with the spouses and everybody. And ironically, the last time I got together with friends and we all sat down for dinner, I had 14 people here in the house. They're all hams and their spouses, and we had a great time. And we started at 6, and everybody started going home a little after 11.
That's awesome.
My uncle was a ham. He had a Radio Shack in his house. He had a room dedicated to it. He put up a 90-foot antenna outside. He had a chessboard on his desk, and he had a gentleman from South Africa that he was playing chess with, and they blocked the time on this calendar that was really, there's a very small window, but they would get a chance to meet like every couple of days and move the chess pieces around. But he was in it for a long, long time. I think he got, my Uncle Bob, I think he got his license back in.
Was he local?
He was actually lived down in, he set up the tower when he lived in New Milford, Connecticut.
All right. Chances of
he was way down in the western part of Connecticut, and he was there for a long time. He passed about, 25 years ago. But he had done it for a long time, and that was his passion. He started off with one small unit, and then he would go into that room and the whole wall would be full. He had shelves, he had bookcases, he had books, he had everything. His license plate was his call sign.
Well, I can understand that. I'm going to take my camera. Well, maybe I won't take my camera. I don't have much. Oh, I do. I was going to say that this is my shack here. My amp and my antenna stuff, and then I got a couple of monitors here, and some more gear and stuff, and all. And it's a modest station, but it works extremely well. And a little bit of aluminum up on the roof too. So
yeah, metal in the air.
But anyways, I'm going to close down. I'm turning into a pumpkin here. I'm really tired. I'm glad you guys could join us, Kevin and Carol. I'll hopefully remember next time. Drop me.
Not a problem. Whatever.
And,
I'll be in touch if it's not snowing, Ken. Otherwise, I'll see you at the beginning of the week, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, it works.
Oh, there's Gary. Pretty soon you're going to need a rubber banner on
73, Stia, and bye-bye. And we'll catch you
7-3 and happy holidays
next month.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night, everybody. 7-3.